Hello everybody, welcome to Cheer the British Way. This is a brand new podcast where we are going to be talking all things cheerleading in the UK. This follows on from our hashtag Not Just Cheer campaign that we have started to celebrate everything about the sport. So what was the moment for you guys in your gym where you were like, oh God, this is it, this is the moment, this is when we're going to see real change?
I think for us it was when we rebranded and we then got 2 summit bids. So we got 2 summit bids, which for us was just huge, absolutely huge. And actually we were one of the only teams to get a Youth 1 summit bid, and we competed USASF. Before the Youth Summit was a thing, they let UK teams compete.
Oh, did they?
Yeah.
Oh, fabulous.
We had a Youth Summit team in the real youth divisions against like Top Gun and everything.
How'd you do?
So we did 17th. We were actually 8th, and then a kid got sick on the floor.
Oh God, did you get deduction for that?
Yeah, we did.
That's
actually.
not okay.
Yeah.
Sometimes people are just sick.
Life lessons.
Oh God, at Nationals, literally Nationals 2 weeks ago.
That is an important life.
One of our Youth 1 kids, not Youth 1, so it's U12 now, isn't it? Threw up in someone else's mouth in a prep.
Oh, yeah.
We had to come off, we had to go back on. So it's still happening now.
They got to go back on. It was a whole,
Oh, but that's still amazing though. What a great experience.
I tell you what though, those youth kids now are in our senior fight, like our
world team.
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah.
And seeing that growth of your kids is amazing, isn't it? What about you, Angela? Obviously, Ascension has gone from being a world's level gym to, you've obviously changed the way that you're running Ascension, and you've decided to follow a different path and step away from that. Obviously, you still have that involvement through Team England, but what's been the biggest change for you?
So we were the first world's team in 2006, and we did it every year, and it just became one of those things that felt like a merry-go-round that you had to keep pumping money into and keep giving the opportunities, and it was almost that once-in-a-lifetime opportunity for the same kids every year. And it just got to the point where I didn't love doing that anymore, but you felt pressured that if you didn't have that, you might lose kids to another gym that then were getting bids or whatever. So I just decided, you know what, that is not what my program is for. We're not there to feed into a world's thing. So I'm really grateful that my athletes have Team England as a pathway. And also, I'm very much of the opinion that if one of my athletes is talented enough and really has the desire to be on a world's team, I mean, I've had kids on Unity, I've had kids on EMCA actually, I've had kids on lots of different world programs. I will stand at the front and be their biggest cheerleader because I do not wish to offer that. So our focus has been in back to our roots, growing our youth program. We went to Infinity Finals, so we want to give the kids an opportunity to do other things. But I really feel like seeing families go into debt so they can fund cheerleading trips is just not something that I'm willing to put my name to. So we've just really tried to, go back to the focus of making our core being about transforming the lives of the kids, giving them opportunities. They've been in Beyonce videos, they've performed at the National Theatre, we've been in all sorts of, random things. We've done performances at the Opera House, just crazy things that, you just wouldn't expect that you would get from cheerleading. And so our focus has been more about that. And we have a junior leadership program and a She Leads program, and it's about female empowerment. We take our kids into the city to see the trading floor, or to City Airport, or all different things, to university to have an experience. So for us, it's about the all-rounded experience and the things that cheerleading can offer, rather than that competitive, world's pathway for us now.
Yeah, and I love that. And obviously, the roots of that and everything that you've just spoken about is why we've decided to launch this, the Not Just Cheer campaign for our 20th year, because I feel like the sport has grown and the sport is amazing, but it's so much more than just competitive cheerleading. It's so much more than just even schools cheerleading. It's that it just offers so many things to so many people. And I think it's time that it was sort of highlighted how incredible these life lessons are and these opportunities that all of our athletes are getting and they're learning. Seeing some of our kids come through our program and leave and go on to do incredible things, whether they are, one of my coaches, Becky, she's a social worker now, and it's just amazing to see the things that they've managed to achieve and how much they talk about cheerleading has given them, and it has helped them with their journey through life and the lessons that they've learned and where they think they would be if they hadn't had the sport. And and that doesn't matter where you're doing cheerleading, whether you're cheerleading at a massive gym, a small gym, whether you're doing community or rec, it doesn't matter. At the end of the day, a team sport, which is predominantly for girls, even though obviously we're thrilled that we have a big co-ed program here, but you know, when we're retaining teenage girls at an age where they are leaving every other sport, and not just retaining them, but gaining them as new athletes, that is something to be truly celebrated. You know, and we actually released something yesterday, it was She Can, and obviously there's more to She Can than cheerleading, there's many different people and types of people, but it stood for safe, happy and empowered. You know, and that's what we are offering in our clubs, isn't it? We're offering a safe space to create happy humans that can be empowered to go on to do amazing things outside the gym when they lead the sport, in their lives, in work, in college, you know, and everything they choose to go on to.
And I think something that Angela said there was so important and so important for new and smaller programs coming in, which is we don't always have to be travelling abroad. We have a Worlds team, we love that Worlds team, and we now try to advocate with those parents that we hope that we will be able to go back and keep giving that opportunity for other athletes coming through. But what we don't want to do is financially fatigue our parents at younger level before they get to that point, before they might have to go to Worlds, you know, 2, 3 or 4 times for us to be able to build that successful team.
Absolutely.
And you've got that big Worlds program as well, and there's so many bids available, and they're all fantastic opportunities, but we don't have to take everything. We don't have to take everything every single year.
Absolutely.
And we don't have to feel like we have to be drawn into the bid battle, and I feel like some of these new programs feel like it's something that they have to have straight away. And you know, through UKC we used to go to the Europeans every year, and it was, you know, it wasn't a hard thing to do, get your bid and go to the Europeans. But now there's a lot more planning that goes involved. It just feels like there's so much involved in it, and I just worry that you know, teams feel like they just have to. And Angela's built up a phenomenal program that isn't doing that, and I think that's something that we need to highlight. Gyms understanding, you know, what is it that they're trying to achieve? What's their goal? Who are they trying to attract? And it doesn't always have to be international travel.
I think as well, you know, we actually had this discussion. I think we've all spoken about this recently. You know, about making sure that we don't cost out our customers. We obviously are an enormous Worlds program. Like we started with the Worlds team. You know, that's how we started. So we've always been that way. Last year we took a U12 team to Infinity Finals, and we took a team to Dallas. This year we're taking a couple of teams to Cheersport, and we're going to we think we're going to the European Summit. But what we make sure that we can always offer is another pathway for those kids. So it's not, well, you're a level 2 kid, but we're taking a level 2 team, so there's nowhere else for you to do level cheerleading. Level 2 cheerleading. We make sure that if you are not wanting to go away, there is another option for you. So this year we're doing a U16 and a U8. Last year we did a U12, and what we're going to do is change up the age groups every year so that we're offering an opportunity. But out of the 32 teams that we have in this gym, 8 are Worlds teams, to be fair. So out of the 24 non-Worlds teams we have in this gym, 2 or 3 will travel, and that's it. And everything else is going to be a domestic team. And I think you're right. We need to make sure that we're not saying to these parents, it's if you can't travel, you can't do it. You know, there has to be another route. There has to be another option, because, you know, these are expensive. Cheer's an expensive sport, and life is expensive. Yeah, you know, the cost of living continues to increase, and we want to make sure we offer something for everybody. Okay, let me jump to Ant. What about you? What was your biggest kind of moment that you saw change for when you transitioned across to EMCA?
Ooh, tricky, because it's a shorter term thing for me. I've only been at EMCA 5 years or thereabouts now. So I feel like the odd man out in the room, because you've all been much more linear with programs for 20 plus years. I came into that gym at the point of kind of mid-COVID, really, almost start of COVID, and took on that position properly coming out of the end of COVID. So I guess the sort of almost rebuilding of the sport.
Yeah.
But actually maybe even within that COVID time period itself, during that lockdown and everything else, and we kind of talked about it earlier, like that shift in everybody communicating more and being more connected.
Yeah.
I think probably that lockdown period had a lot to do with it.
I agree.
Because we were suddenly all open, and we were actively engaging other people. Like I had to just, at that point, my business was purely camps and choreography.
Yeah.
I wasn't working in a gym. I didn't have a full-time job. I was literally self-employed and, traveling and earning based on that. And that got shut down in a heartbeat. I was literally when that all kicked in, I was in Australia at the time. I was out there, and I was in the middle of what was supposed to be an epic trip. I was in Sydney. I should have been there for 10 days. I was supposed to come back I would have flown back to London and then immediately to Zurich to work with the team in Switzerland for a couple of days. Then I was flying to LA to learn how to make cheer music because I was going to expand my business.
Oh,
to start
fun.
making music.
Wow.
Along with my sole other employee who was at that time about to become like a full-time employee. I was about to employ somebody. And then I would have come back to London off the back of that. So I was in the middle of this insane trip and then lockdown kicked in while I was in Sydney.
Gone.
And
All gone.
Yeah. Literally shut down, which at the time was almost the biggest relief because I was so tired and so busy.
I think we were all like, oh, good, a couple of weeks off work.
Yeah.
Lovely.
Oh, lovely.
The first month or so
Weather
was
was lush.
fantastic.
Yeah.
Like, you know what, I'm not that sad about this. And then as the savings dwindled, it got a lot sadder. But yeah, seeing then it had to just switch. And I had to go, right after those first couple of months of slobbing about, had to go, right, actually, I've got to do something here, and started making YouTube videos.
Yeah.
And started doing weekly Zoom calls, and I did like a coaches hangout on Friday night. I think you were both on that at some point.
Yeah.
To come onto that and just trying to find ways to connect, to still connect with clients, to connect with one of my biggest passions now that I don't get enough time to do is teaching coaches. Like I work for BGU, now, doing some of that. Like I loved connecting with coaches and getting to talk to other people and teach the teaching. Like is a real big thing. So I think that did open up a lot of stuff. There's so many people that I know now. I was at Rachel's conference at the weekend and I'm talking to people that I got to know through them doing those coaches hangouts.
Yeah.
And doing online sessions with their teams. And I think that it opened up a different level of accessibility, some of which is maintained because if you're a small program, you can't necessarily afford to have somebody come and do your routine. You may not really be able to afford to have somebody come and even do a camp, but you can afford an hour Zoom call with somebody as a consultation and things like that. And I think that really opened up a lot of stuff and connected a lot of people.
Yeah.
And that has, shifted the whole tone and the interconnectedness of coaches, definitely in the UK.
Yeah, I think you're right. Like COVID was we came out of COVID really, it was like sort of September 21, wasn't it really, that we were finally kind of all operating again. And it was a long time, it was a year and a half essentially that none of us were able to properly run our gyms or run our businesses. We were very fortunate because our gym is actually based in a council-owned leisure centre, so they just paused our rent, which was amazing. So we were very fortunate because I know a lot of other people were having to sort of apply for grants and business rate relief. But we sort of came back and everyone felt very fragile and we were like, right, we need to rebuild. What do we do? But actually, I think we're probably the better for it, to be fair. I mean, at the time, obviously, I hated it.
Yeah, let's not do it again.
No, I never want to do it again, like homeschooling my two children with a baby, but never again. But I do think, we did come out of it with, I think, a sense of gratitude. Yeah. I think there was a sense of gratitude for the fact that we'd, especially like 22, 23, I was just so grateful to be back at work. I was so grateful to be back at Worlds.
I was going to say that first time back at Worlds.
Oh, God.
And we were also taking COVID tests, so weren't we, in 22?
Yeah, we were. I remember we went back to Dallas and I remember everyone having to do it online. And the guy that I was doing it with was sat in his shower, like the shower curtain was behind him. I was like, you in your bathroom? And he was like, yeah. Do you want me here to do it on a video? Cool. Yeah. And now we've won many, many Globes, and it obviously nothing ever feels the same as the first one. Yeah. But I think I used to put myself under so much pressure because that's what it meant. And I've really realised since obviously we've had that achievement and we've gone on to have many more achievements that actually there is so much more to this sport. They're not my most coveted memories.
Yeah.
They're not the best moments. Like the best moments are, sort of small competitions, like moments with my coaches, like some of the amazing adventures that myself and Ant have been on over the years, like Team England's first bronze medal in 2017 at ICU World. Those are the moments. And I think it's, I really want to sort of reiterate to anyone listening, and I'm sure you guys agree that success is great and Worlds is great and Summit is great and, this is, everything's great, NCA is great. But the little moments, the in-between moments, they are the ones that are the most life-changing and they are the ones that you remember forever. Yeah. Like the feeling of coming off the floor after a great run beats any result ever.
And that's difficult because, I don't know about you guys, but I find it, like we sit here with, a bunch of old people talking about the old days and we could be as cliche as we want, talking about the values and all this other stuff, and it sounds cliche to people. It sounds, I think, disingenuous a lot. We probably sat in a room back in the day with people going, it's about the kids, guys.
Yeah.
That old cheer cliche is about the kids. And we're like, yeah, but you're super competitive and want to win world.
I mean, we're all super competitive, or we wouldn't be doing this job.
But equally, like, I find myself more and more trying to justify that now to people, because there is so much high end in the sport.
Yeah.
Like, now that world success is an accessible thing, because this was not an accessible thing to us back in the day. Like, now that having success at that top level is so accessible, and it's so much more widely accessible for people to even compete at that level, that competitive success is great, but it is a small part of it.
Yeah, it is a small part of it.
I always, I have the worst memory for anything that's ever happened in cheerleading. People are like, do you remember when this went on? I'm like, no. I could talk to you till the cows come home about things like the fun we had back in the day and the experiences and everything else. But people are like, do you remember when so-and-so fell at competition? I'm like,
no, goodness me, no.
Competition.
I mean, guys, back in the day, you didn't even have to hit your routine. Actually, that has been one of the biggest changes, the introduction of hitting your routine and hitting zero. Like, that was not a thing.
No.
You didn't have to hit your routine. You had to try the hardest things and just have a great time. Like, those were, we always say, those were the good old days, because hitting your routine now is as we say to our kids, it's the minimum expectation. It's not enough to just hit. You have to do it and do it really well. Back in the day, you didn't even need to do it. You didn't need to do it at all.
I love it when people say, I remember, for us, it was like when people either saw us at Jamfest or the following year at ICC, and it's that, where did you come from? Or when we got our first paid Wales bid, where did you come from? Or that routine that they saw. Like, I love them little moments where you just realise you've made your little mark, and you've made a little impact. You've had an impression on somebody, and that's how our sport grows, like having little impacts on each other.
Those are a lot of the high value moments for me, if you like, is those interactions with athletes down the road. Like, I was catching back up with a kid that I coached when I was in Connecticut. So I think when I first got there, she would have been about 6 or 7. Yeah. Teeny tiny little thing. And stayed in contact over the years. Like, she still checks in with me just randomly. And I'm talking to her this year, she's now the cheerleading coordinator for the New England Patriots. She's on. God,
that makes me feel really old.
Staff there. Yeah. Like, you probably met this girl.
Yeah.
And she, is quite high up in NFL cheerleading. Like, so we're talking about doing something with them this year. But just getting, just catching up with her and getting on the phone and seeing how well she's done, and that she still expresses gratitude to me as her coach from those days. And, I can tell you about those moments and those interactions with athletes who, there are plenty of athletes who have come and gone that I have no idea what they're doing and everything else, but there are those that do, still reiterate the value that you've given to their life. And that's, that's much
it's
more
huge.
Heartwarming to me than going, another band.
Like, being a coach and being involved in these kids' lives and knowing that you've made a difference and made a change, like, that's one of the reasons we all started this in the first place. None of us, none of the 4 of us got into this sport to become world-level cheerleading coaches. We got into the sport because we loved the sport, because there was no worlds. I mean, actually, when I first started cheerleading, there was no worlds. 2002, there was literally not a world. That didn't exist.
There was no development
plan. No, there was none of that. And it was just about, we love coaching. And someone said to me not long ago, like, oh, what's your plan? Are you going to stop coaching? And I was like, absolutely not. No. I love coaching. I actually do really love admin, just because I'm that kind of person. And I love running my gym, but I love coaching. And I don't ever want to be at the point where I'm not involved in some way, even if I'm not coaching my own team, but that I'm not in the gym and seeing the kids and seeing the coaches develop and sharing those moments.
It's the growth, though, isn't it? It's being with a team. You've just finished with, 19 years with
19
Ruby,
years with Black, 15 years with Ruby,
and just seeing them from the beginning, obviously not the same athletes, but seeing the evolution of the team, and you do feel emotionally attached to teams, team names.
Oh my God, and all the people that have come through. Like, leaving Black is a tough one, because that has been my entire cheerleading career with that team. And obviously they've achieved some really, really amazing things. And I feel really sort of fulfilled and able to step away. But when I think I put up a post on Instagram, did a little reel of through the years, and some of the people that were commenting on it were people that had been on the team back in 2010, 11, 12, and I was like, God, so many people have walked through this team and it's been part of the life and have all these amazing memories about it. And this was back when the team hadn't achieved anything successful, but that doesn't matter. That's not the memories that they've made. It's about the people they were with, the places that they went, you know, the fun that we had. And that's like so lovely.
Those connections that we have specifically, I guess, through the early days of Unity, like I guess you can call it our coaching tree.
Yeah.
The people that were athletes with us, under us as athletes, and then
went on to start their own programs.
Spread. It is a very, very connected community.
Yeah, it is. Or still staff at competitions. So many people. Okay, I am going to ask you guys a few questions. Okay, we're going to do a quick fire round, Ange. A quick fire round.
Lightning round.
Okay, lightning round this is. First team you've ever coached?
Ascension Eagles, senior college.
Nice. Most iconic routine moment?
Oh my goodness. My favourite is Legacy 2010. So it just, for me, it was a really iconic routine, and I think we actually hit most of it, which didn't happen very often.
Yeah, no, that's a real achievement back in 2010. Most emotional competition?
Probably 2012, because it was kind of like the end of Ascension Eagles legacy and the start of our new program. I wouldn't change anything about it, but it was the end of an era, I guess.
Yeah. Favourite old school cheer trend?
Oh my goodness, I actually love doing the cheer in the routine and 8 count dances.
Yes, those were the days. One thing you missed from the early cheer days?
Just being able to make up stunts and not get deductions.
Okay, and then one final thing. In one sentence, what does not just cheer mean to you personally?
Okay, one sentence. Cheer's a safe space for so many, and I think that's the most important thing about it.
I love that. Agree. Okay, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Bye. So what makes you most proud when you look at your athletes, not just on the mat, but beyond it?
I always instantly relate to my daughter and just think that she's been part of our sport for the whole time. Like, I was pregnant with her in the first year that I set the program up, and she was raised in the gym. She has, started at tiny level 1, and now she's on our world's team, and I see the journey and the impact that it has. But the bigger thing for me is the friendships. Yeah. It is the friendships that she has formed. All of her really good life friends have come through the club, and I've had them kids, at our house when it's been her party, and I see how they've grown and they've gone through all their challenges together. And for me, I absolutely love seeing old athletes post photos with other former athletes that they're still friends with. Yeah. And that for me is just like the thing I'm most proud of, and the biggest impact I think that we've had.
What about you?
Rephrase the question for me.
What makes you the most proud when you look at your athletes, not just on the mat, but beyond it?
I think the way they reflect our values as a program. So myself and Anna and Helena that I run the program with, I like to think, I hope others would consider us, we're quite high integrity, quite high ethics people. So we have high standards for how we want the club represented, and it gets so grossly difficult as you get very big, as you'll appreciate, to influence every athlete that comes through the door to the same degree, and it's never a perfect thing, but when you can see that kids understand the ethics and the ethos and the integrity that you're trying to convey to them, and that they take it seriously, that if you set a standard of how they act or how they look at competition, that they take it seriously, that is how they should be, then you can just see that you're influencing young people positively.
I think that kind of ties into my next question, which was, what values do you think cheerleading instills that go way beyond the sport?
Yeah, we always talk about the teamwork and the camaraderie and things, but just respect. I think having respect for other people, it's not just about learning teamwork skills and being able to work with other people, but learning how to be a decent, respectful human being to other people, which is, you know, I'm not going to get into this generation business, but I think one of the things that we all struggle with and we find is with young people spending so much time interacting behind a phone screen, how protected they can feel in terms of how they act when it's in text format or video format versus in person. And one of the things I really try to encourage a lot with our athletes is to make sure they know how to interact in person. I'll sit at the front desk in the gym and greet them as they walk in on their phone with their head bowed.
Yeah.
Saying,
hello, so-and-so.
Hi, Sophie. And they look at you like you're insane. Like, no, just say hello, make eye contact and say hello with an adult.
Yeah.
That's okay. And it's stuff that is easily missed.
Yeah.
It's not there. But I think just that interaction with adults for children, which is lost, with each other and helping them learn how to be an interactive human being.
Yeah, for me, I think it's the leadership. I think it's the leadership skills that we develop, and we do talk about it, but we really do build leaders in our sport. And I think one of the things, I was actually talking to one of our coaches about the other day, parents are so keen to get their child to compete at a level above.
Oh, gosh, yeah.
They always want their kid to be the youngest in the level above.
That's been my child so far.
Yeah, but the leaders are born when they are the oldest in the team, because they become the mentor, they become the guide, they become the knowledge of that team, and then they move up, and then they have the rite of passage in the next age group. Then they go to be mentored. You know, I see this in our teams. You become the oldest in, you know, your under 16s, and you become the leader, you become the mentor, then you move into the Worlds programme, and then you get mentored, and that is how leaders are born, I believe, in our sport. And I think it's really important that parents understand, you know, there is a reason why athletes should be
in their age group.
Yeah, because they get not always, but just to be able to be the leader and learn them life skills. I think it's important.
I agree. Like, my daughter is a cheerleader. She's 6, and she's on a U8 team, and she has been the youngest this season. She's the only one in year 1. And she next year will be not the youngest. And they had a little camp the other day, and you could already notice the change in her, you know, as she started to realise that she's not the baby anymore, and she's actually got a bit of ownership. Yeah. And I think, you know, it's right. I think kids staying within their age group and within their correct level, very important. Yeah. I think for me, everything you've said, absolutely. Also, things like time management and organisational skills. I hate when a parent says to me they can't carry on because they've got their GCSEs. Oh. And I'm like, you're in the gym for 2 hours a week. Yeah. Like, you are not at home revising. There is no way this kid is just at home revising. We have to be fully rounded people. Yeah. We have to be able to go to school, do our homework, and do a sport. Yeah. We have to be able to do all of those things. And I've got kids like that are in our Worlds programme and maybe like cross to another team who are really bright, really academic kids that have just got really, really good at managing their time. Yeah. And I think that's something that we should be encouraging. You know, kids should be, you know, they should be busy, because otherwise they're just at home on their phones. Yeah. Like, let's keep them busy, let's keep them active, let's keep them learning how to manage their own time. Yeah. And also let's, you know, teach them how to be, I can't think of the word, what's the word I'm looking for?
Resilient as well, though.
Resilient, but it's not that. Just to show up, not let other people down. What's the word I'm looking for?
Reliable.
Committed, yeah. Committed. How to commit to something and see it through to the end.
Well, in this world as well, when so many professional lanes that these athletes are going to go into require self-time management, like homeworking and flexi time and things are what everybody wants now.
But also managing a workload, managing that workload, and I think parents have to have that responsibility to understand that it is a life lesson. And if at every time your child gets busy, you take something off their plate, they're never going to build the resilience up towards that. And cheerleading allows them to do that. One, the best thing the kids can be doing during exams is do some physical activity, be around their friends, socialise, take their mind off what it is. But you're right, you know, if we keep moving them away from the sport when things get busy, they're never going to be able to manage a workload.
No, ever. Absolutely. And you know, these are kids that are doing GCSEs and A-levels, so they're either about to go to university and they're going to be completely self-reliant, or they're heading to college or into apprenticeships, and the same still stands. You know, I think we launched a new website for our 20th anniversary, and the tagline on our website is creating exceptional people. And I think that's something that we came up with. We did a sort of a big board kind of 2-day session with our sort of director team, and it was amazing as we kind of looked at what our mission statement was. You know, what is it we're hoping to achieve outside of just competing? Like, who are we? What is it we want to see? Like, we're 20 years old. You know, as we move forward, what's next? What's next for Unity? And actually, we realised that it's not about, we don't need to build our business anymore. Our business is big. What we really want to do is make sure that we are contributing to building the sport and the understanding of the sport, creating an impact in the sport, because this sport does create exceptional people.
Yeah.
You know, it creates people that are able to do exceptional things, to be great teammates, and, you know, all of the things that we've just spoken about. You know, I see those qualities already coming through in my 6-year-old.
Yeah, absolutely.
And, you know, I don't necessarily feel that they're qualities that I was able to learn as an individual gymnast growing up.
Yeah.
You know, when I finally got into the sport, I was kind of almost devastated that I'd not been able to do it as a child, because I feel like I'd missed out on, as a girl, doing a team sport that wasn't a ball sport.
Yeah.
Yes, before I tore my meniscus.
Definitely regret not doing it before. I was a lot healthier.
I know, and a lot older.
When I had two into
But you know,
my
I watch my son, he's a footballer. He plays rugby, he plays cricket, and he's doing all these team sports because there's a lot of opportunities for team ball sports.
Yeah.
But outside of that, what team sports are there?
Yeah.
Cheerleading, and actually, it's just, you know, offering so much to so many people. So let's just make sure more people know about it and know what it is. What advice would you give to young coaches or athletes who want to stay in this industry long term?
I would say make friends, network, use the industry, especially in the UK. We are all here to support each other, and don't be afraid to ask questions, because we all start somewhere and we're all still learning. We are all still learning. And I think
God, absolutely. All still learning, still making mistakes.
Yeah, also learning, also make mistakes. And those of us that got the furthest or continue to grow, those that are still okay with being wrong, or still okay with the learning, or still okay at finding new things, innovation. So if they're starting out, just, you know, find a network, ask questions.
Yeah.
Keep going.
What about you?
Yeah, broaden your horizons. I think one of the difficulties in this industry that I talk to coaches about a lot is that most people never set foot outside their own program, their own gym.
Mm-hmm.
Unless you're in, you know, it's one thing I think's contributed to my growth and development and journey in such a massive way, is that I got the opportunity from a very early point in my career to teach camps and to go out and do that. And that's kind of a rarer thing these days. There's not so much of that kind of that camp and that visiting, other than choreography, business around. But by doing that, I got to go to different programs, and I've spent really the whole of my career I still work with different programs, going to different gyms, talking to different coaches, seeing how people do things differently, and having that broad perspective and seeing, not just seeing what other people do and perhaps adopting it, but just appreciating the differences in cultures in different countries, the way they do cheerleading. Different cultures within programs, different situations. There are, you know, we're here you're the biggest program in the country, down to, like you say, there are still people in church halls, in very deprived areas, in all kinds of different situations, and having that appreciation. Like, I think we find it when some issue will come up publicly that we're debating on the coaches group or whatever it is, and you have to have that appreciation that things do affect everybody differently.
Yeah, absolutely, and it's something we've talked about a lot lately.
It comes up for us a lot.
It does come up a lot for us, but yeah, there is a wide scope of program sizes and, you know, different dynamics, and people have different choices. You know, you can be a grassroots program, you can be entirely rec focused, you can just want to do novice, you're a summit gym, you're a world gym, you know, there's just many different, and that's fantastic, because I think there's space for everyone. I think in this industry there really is space for everybody.
No, but I think it's important to know that there's space for everybody, and people should be filling the spaces and not feeling like they just have to go forward and not know their direction and just following others. Like, find your path, know where you are, and don't worry about what's around you. You know, stand in your values and do your program.
And space for everyone is such a massive thing. Like, when we're talking about the positives of the sport, and we're not the most diverse panel in the world ever right now, but the way the sport is accepting of different body types, different backgrounds, different ethnicities.
Oh, absolutely.
Different, you know, gender and sexual preferences, certainly. Like,
it's an incredibly inclusive place.
Incredibly inclusive
Yeah.
sport.
I mean,
that doesn't get enough recognition, I think, for what
Absolutely. We actually did a really lovely video on our Unity Instagram for Pride Month, talking to some of our athletes, and this really is an inclusive sport. Like Unity, and we love a rainbow. Here we love it, but we kind of pride ourselves in the fact that we are very inclusive and we have a really diverse range of athletes in the gym. But I think people do tend to feel safe, happy and empowered in this sport. I think, it is one of those places where you can be who you want to be and everyone's accepting of it. And if someone was to not be, that would be very quickly stamped out, I know, for us, and I'm sure for you guys as well. But I think you're right. I think there's few sports that offer the level of diversity that cheerleading does. And I often say to people, they're like, oh, cheerleading. And I'm like, you can, could I do it? And I'm like, of course you could. Absolutely. You can be any body type, any size, any gender, whatever you are, and there will be a place for you somewhere. And actually,
one of our mums, she's, her daughter's been in the program for several years. It's now youth age, and the mum's like, would I be able to join a team? She absolutely thought it was absurd, and we're like, yeah.
We had a dad, one of our Ruby dads, on steel last year.
Perfect.
Shout out, Martin.
It really does have a place for everyone, and I think...
Absolutely, and why should you have to stop doing cheerleading? Obviously, with the introduction of open teams, and we no longer have children on the teams with adults, with the introduction of open teams, why can't you be? You'd be working in a place at 18, 19 with people in their 40s.
Who's your oldest athlete?
40.
We're
My
47.
sister.
Oh, nice.
In the 30s, 34, my sister did a
Yeah?
comeback. Yeah.
Did she? Did she?
But also, there was like an over 40s football Sunday league team.
Oh my God, absolutely.
We have masters now.
Yeah. Why can't people continue?
Absolutely, of course they can. And I think actually, as much when it was very, very first mentioned, the introduction of the non-tumbling pathway was obviously questioned. And actually Dave, who I'm sure you all know, Dave, who works with me at Unity, he was one of the people that was like, no, what's this?
I have a complicated relationship with it still, I think.
But actually,
it offers different things.
We managed to win our first world title in the non-tumbling division and went on to do it 3 more times, and I'm very, very thankful for that. But actually, what the non-tumble pathway has given us is an even more accepting and inclusive sport with more longevity, where people can carry on for many, many years beyond what they normally would. And also people will start the sport older because they don't have to come in and try and do a forward roll. And they love that. And actually, if there's going to be, obviously, world's level is a different conversation, but in terms of the sport at large, fantastic. The more the merrier. Let's get more people involved. Let's make more people aware of it. Let's, try and make sure that the media has a better understanding of it. And I've done quite a lot lately. I was on BBC, wherever we were for Bournemouth. I think it was BBC Radio Solent. I did a thing on there. They asked me to do an interview. We had news round in the gym a couple of weeks ago. But we're still struggling, I think the sport is still struggling to really tackle mainstream media and to get it really, really understood. So I think we are going to be coming to an end because we have spoken for a really long time, but we could talk for longer.
We could.
So I'm going to ask both of you in our quick fire round. I'll go through all questions one at a time. I'll start with you, Rachel. First team you ever coached?
That was STCA, Senior Elite, and it was level 16 back in the day.
Of course it was. We all started high level.
Yeah, with the backhand spring.
Absolutely.
Wonderful.
Most iconic routine moment?
For another team, I remember Rising Stars at UKCA, and it was dance actually, and they did this dance with the fans, and I was like, ooh, what is that? Bit of fan dance instead of pom dance. Loved it.
Oh God.
Yeah.
Let's dig the video out of that, please.
Yeah, can't really love that.
Most emotional competition?
Oh, absolutely, we're first world.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
What year was
that? 2004, just last year. First year.
24.
2004. That was the year my child was born. 24 last year, first worlds. Just seeing them girls who were youth level 1 and a junior 2, like just a few years before, and my daughter, and then just seeing Stacey, I just was gone. I don't think I saw the routine.
Love
that. It was so emotional though. Like, you get that, right?
Oh God,
like,
I just spent the entire weekend at Bournemouth crying.
Just being there, I think was just so emotional.
Oh, I love that. Yeah. One thing you miss from the early cheer days?
I love that you could just be on this side of the floor and you just had to get over there and you just do a little power run across the floor.
Yes. Like formations, what are they?
What are they? Just
as if there was definitely no transitions and formations on the score sheet.
You've got 8 counts. Go! 1, 2, 3. Also, we used to have a little bun in our hair, with a little ribbon, also like a little poofy at the front.
Oh, a puff,
Can you remember them?
puff.
Yeah, I love a little puff.
Oh.
All the feels.
I could honestly, I could do we could do a throwback episode. That would be about 7 hours long. I'd love it. Right, Anthony, first team you ever coached?
Loughborough Gold Rush.
Absolutely. Most iconic routine moment?
Somebody else.
Oh, it's got to be the genie, surely. Surely.
What?
The Amy Garala on your
No,
arms.
do you remember the mirror pyramid? Me in a handstand with her stood on my feet.
Oh God,
That
oh
is
so
on a video
great.
somewhere. You can find that. That is a good one.
Oh, so great. Okay,
Definitely
we have to
not
try and
legal.
dig these
It
out for
became
the
illegal the
episode.
next year. I think it was one of those.
Oh, sad.
I'm definitely responsible for a few rules, I think, over the years.
Yeah, fair enough. Most emotional competition?
That's hard because, as my kids will tell you, I don't have any emotions, except anger. There's a lot of anger. I'm not a particularly emotional person.
Pride.
There's still, yeah. I don't know. I don't hang on to a lot of emotions, so I don't carry a lot of memories of things. You know what? The one that does stick, actually, where I think the first nationals for Unity, for you really, that I wasn't on the floor after I'd moved.
Yeah.
And the first year or so, even though I'd moved, I was back and I was on the team at times.
Was
and
it
I was still back
ICC
in the team.
Nationals?
No, it was Brighton.
Oh, okay.
It's when FC was at Brighton, so, and I think it was probably third year of Unity where
Yeah.
I finally had to admit that I actually couldn't
It was
be
over.
involved
Yeah, it
anymore.
was over.
But I was back and I watched and I'm like, this is horrible. These are all my friends competing, and I was still very attached to it at that point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Was that the
one
year
does
we
stick.
did the pyramid in 2 halves by accident?
Yes. It didn't. Perhaps by the end of the routine I was less sad that I wasn't a part of it.
Oh, I say by accident because half went on one count, half went on the next
Yeah.
8 count.
Yeah.
It never really
It never
came back
happened before,
together.
though.
It never happened before.
That should be the Unity motto.
That
If
was
there
our
is
tagline years
an
ago.
original one under the thing.
Something would happen
Never
in a
happened.
comp. Never happened before. Like now, those things generally don't happen because you go full out so many times. But back in the day, you
Well,
didn't.
sure,
Full out on the comp floor. That was
Yeah,
it.
that was you might have done one ever, but you generally went full out on comp floor first time. Guys, those of you that do 3-4 full outs a night for 3 months before competition, you're welcome.
We used to
It used
set
to be
the
much
floor.
more scary.
We used to go and put down the
Oh,
floor
we
in
did,
exchange for an
yeah.
hour's practice time if there was time at the end of the night and they weren't kicking us out.
And that was it. That was the first full
That was the
out.
only time we'd see a spring floor.
Favourite old school cheer trend?
Oh, you know what? It's not that old school, but I miss when standing tucks were relevant. Do you remember, like, when I remember Top Gun Large Co-Ed coming out and doing a full team standing tuck?
Oh.
Minds were blown.
Oh, I
like
love a
now,
standing
it's the
tuck.
most ludicrous. It's not even level 4 elite skill, but at the time
I
we were
know,
like,
that's so
this
sad,
is
isn't it?
insane. Where have they
Bring
found
them.
You used
this
to have
many
to have a standing tuck to get on a
incredible
world's
tumblers?
team.
Yeah.
You used to have to, didn't you?
Yeah, I miss standing tucks and jump
Bring them
tucks
back.
Yeah.
being relevant. It's a key skill. It's missing.
Yeah.
Bring it back.
And then one thing you missed from the early cheer days? how fun it was.
The socials, data, yeah, oh god, all of that stuff. Yeah, it was how tight we all were, definitely, because it was friendship first, for sure.
Oh God, yeah.
In those, and we were literally like changing the world on the phone for 4 hours at a time every
Every day,
night.
every day.
The plans and the dreams and aspirations and everything else. But yeah, it was friends first doing cheerleading
Yeah.
before it was all, and I love the business and the growth and everything else that's gone with it and how much more professional it is. But there was an innocence and a naivety to it.
Yeah.
That we were just having fun. There wasn't our livelihoods weren't on the line and things. We didn't
Yeah.
take it that as seriously we certainly took it seriously. Let's not joke about it.
We were very serious. Yeah.
Pretty much everything that went wrong in competition was fixed by the time you'd had a beer after.
Yeah, absolutely.
Whilst that still is sort of the case.
Yeah, it's
just that
definitely much more
naivety.
serious now, and I think that it's so lovely for I think for us the fact that we started Unity together, and then I obviously went on to sort of build it alongside Amanda and Dave and Chin, and now we have really great staff, but we've always been such good friends and we've always stayed friends, and now we have 2 really big gyms that we both run, but that's never changed our friendship because friendship first, cheerleading second.
Yeah.
Always. And I think that's something people really need to remember. Like, yes, it's a sport and we love it and it is highly competitive. But as I always tell the kids when they're having a bad day, it is just cheerleading.
Just cheerleading. That
It
is
is just
the mantra
cheerleading.
now.
Yeah, and I think that is the important key. Like your competition when you go to a competition is just the people in your division, and
Yeah.
it's just for that one competition.
It's that competition,
and
it's
that's
that one
it.
day,
It's
and you
what
know,
they do on the floor.
You know, we talk about like hashtag not just cheer, because cheerleading, the competition days, the routines, the competing, that's just cheerleading.
Yeah.
But cheerleading is not just cheer.
No.
It's so many more things. It's everything else we've spoken about and all the other things that we're going to continue exploring in this series. And if you want a bit of a laugh, Cheer the British Way is still available on YouTube.
I might come watch that.
We filmed it, I think it was like 2012.
Yeah, I don't
Black's
know.
Journey to
I haven't
Worlds.
watched much of it.
Oh, goodness me.
something to
Can't
go
believe
back.
it's still going. But yeah, I think, you know, I think we all agree that this is, you know, the sport has a lot to give and a lot to offer, and we're really sort of thankful and grateful to be part of it. Thank you guys so much for
No,
joining
thank
me
you.
today. I'm sure you'll be back on an
So
episode
fun.
very soon. There's many more things to talk about still.
I demand to be here for the watch along of the classic.
Oh,
videos.
watch along and the 7-hour throwback session.
Yes.
Yeah, don't worry.
So fun.
We'll see you soon. Thank you so much for listening, guys.